In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
How will I ever do this on my own?
she thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is Rosa and I'm here with a special guest named Jennifer. She is here to talk to us about her business, Soap Addicted. So are you addicted to soap, Jennifer?
Yes, I am. I absolutely love making soap. The website is Soap Addicted, but the business itself is called Soap Addiction. So all of my labels say Soap Addiction, but the website is soapaddicted.com.
Well, that's nice and confusing.
I know, because that was taken.
So you already had the labels before you tried to buy the domain name, or what?
Well, I already had a plan going for this particular target of my audience. So anyway, I do love making soap. I love the artistic aspects of it. I love blending different fragrances, different colors, and just the beauty of it. And people look at the soaps and constantly come by and say how pretty they are.
That is true. They are very colorful. And at markets, people love to get different colorful handmade things. And so it definitely fits in. I met you at a farmer's market. And so you make goat's milk soaps?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have goats that you milk?
Yes. We have 8 goats. They all delivered back in March and April, and we've been milking them all summer long and freezing the milk, using the fresh milk to make product, but also we freeze the milk for when we're not milking. And they have free-range pasture out there, and they're fed a good diet, and so it's a great part of my business to actually be able to have my own goats, which a lot of soap makers do not have that advantage to be able to do that.
So just as a lactating kind of question, how long can you milk goats after they've given birth? Can you just keep milking them and keep producing?
Yes,
forever?
A good milker, you could technically milk them about a year, but typically they get pregnant again before then. Like mine are pregnant again, so I stop milking about a month after they get pregnant, so that I can let their bodies concentrate on forming that baby or babies.
That's fair. What if you don't let them get pregnant?
Then you could continue milking. I've never let one just continue nonstop. For one, it's a lot of work to milk them. You run out of freezer space.
That's fair.
You can only drink so much milk and eat so much goat cheese, which is delicious, but still.
If you have a steady diet of goat cheese, I can see it getting kind of old.
Yes. So that's our cycle is to let them have babies. We milk them for 5 or 6 months, let them dry up. They get pregnant and they have their next round the next year, and start the process all over again.
Oh, wow. Okay, you have a cycle. So, how long have you been doing this?
I have been doing this for 12 years.
12 years. My goodness.
I started right around 2009. We bought a farm back in 1999, and we had a lot of land we had 14 acres, and we kept trying to find people that wanted to cut down the hay and have the hay. Nobody would take us up on it. So we decided that we would get something that would help eat down some of this pasture. Goats was a very economical way to do it. They're low maintenance. You do have to have good fencing because they do like to get out.
They'll eat that fence.
Well, they'll eat the fence. They'll jump the fence and all of that.
I used to have a goat, and it was very hard to contain.
Yes. So you do have to have good fencing. But they reproduce easy. They are easy to milk. They're friendly. They're very sociable. Kids love to come and pet the babies and play with the babies. So it was a win-win for us.
How many goats do you have to keep your pasture under control?
Well, a lot more than what we have. But since then, because now we need the hay, we have a neighbor that comes and cuts all of our pasture and rolls it, and then we just buy the hay from him, though it comes from our land.
Right. So it's cheaper
we know
than if
it's cheaper, and we know that we do not do any pesticides or herbicides on our property.
And then do you know that for your milk?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice cycle, like you said. Okay.
So it's, like I said, it's worked out really well to be able to maintain them completely off of our land.
Okay. So you started. Did you initially want to get the goats just to cut the grass?
Initially, it was for pasture management, yes.
Okay. When did you start using the goat's milk for stuff?
We started milking the goats just to have goat milk to drink. And then I took a course at UK and learned how to make goat cheeses. Everything from feta to cheddars to mozzarella to all the different kinds. And thought about going into that as a business because I love cheese. I'm a cheese snob. And so I loved it, but I did not like the business aspect of it. All of the red tape, all of the permits, all of the inspections, all of those things. So I thought, what else can I do with goat milk? I had already experimented with making soap with my children because we homeschooled them several years. And that was something that we did as part of our homeschooling projects was make old-fashioned lye soap.
Did you make candles too?
We did candles, yeah. The kind with the little milk carton and you put ice in there and then you pour wax over it and the ice melts and it makes it look like it's see-through and it's really neat.
That's neat.
So anyway, we ended up, I ended up using some of the milk because I had so much milk at that point. I didn't know what else to do with it. And someone said, well, why don't you make goat milk soap? Ding, ding, ding. It's like, oh, I know how to do that. So I started experimenting and doing it mostly for a hobby of providing soap and that type of product for our home only. I started having so much fun doing it that I ended up having so much soap curing at my home because the type of soap that I make, it's the old-fashioned kind that has to cure for about 6 weeks. So once you make a batch, you cut it and you set it on shelves and it has to sit there and dry and harden for 6 weeks. But I just really enjoyed it. So I would just kept making soap. Ended up with so much of it that I ended up starting to do farmers markets.
Yeah. Okay. With just soap. All right.
Just soap. And I look back at some of those soaps in the pictures. They were just no color in them, barely scented, no label on it, no nothing. And but people were gracious, and they knew that I was trying to start something, and so they were gracious, and they still bought anyway.
Right, and that's the cool thing about people who come to farmers markets, that they're coming to support other people, and it's a really nice attitude. And so I've kind of gotten addicted to going to the farmers markets on Saturdays just because I love the energy of the people there. Of course, I end up buying way too much stuff, and my son started doing the lemonade stand for a little while, but yeah, it's a great little community atmosphere, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, I actually have seen quite a few people doing soaps, and so that didn't really stand out to me when I was coming by your stand. But what stood out to me was your elderberry syrup packs. I haven't got a chance to use it yet, but I think I'm about to, because it's getting cold outside. So you want to tell us about what else you've added in?
Yeah, so On our homestead, and that's what we call it, it's a homestead, that we try to live a very self-sufficient life. We grow a lot of our own food. We have fruit trees of peaches, apples, and plums. We have strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. We have chickens. We have ducks. So we have a very self-sustaining lifestyle there that if the proverbial shit was to hit the fan, we wouldn't necessarily have to go too far to get very many things, you know, for that reason. But we also study a lot of herbal medicine. We grow a lot of various herbs that we use not only for our own health in teas and tinctures, but I integrate those aspects into my product as well. The roses, the lavender, the basil, the mints, the echinacea, the calendula, chamomile, all those herbs are used in the product in various ways. And I eventually started branching out from soaps to adding goat milk lotions. And when my grandson was born, he is 12 now. When he was born, we would take him outside and he would get eaten up by mosquito bites.
Oh, yes.
And he would have these big welts. And being the naturalist that we are, it's like I just did not feel comfortable putting the can of Off or DEET or any of those things on him. And I started...
But you're looking at him and you're like, well, he's not comfortable being eaten alive either. So what
I
are we
did
going to
some
do?
experimenting and found some natural plant oils that I could add to my lotions to make them naturally bug repelling. So now I sell... Recently, I've been selling more lotions than I have soaps because a lot of stores have been carrying those just because not only is it extremely moisturizing and it's all natural, but it's got the natural bug repellent in it as well.
And what is it that is bug repelling?
It's a proprietary blend of oils.
Okay. Could you tell me one natural ingredient that might be helpful? Because like I get eaten up by bugs.
Eucalyptus and mint and lemon are very insects don't like the smells of those. Lemongrass even.
I really love lemongrass, and I have heard that about that it repels bugs. I don't think it repels it enough, or I didn't have it applied enough. Like I think I'd have to wear it on every inch of me to get rid of a bug.
Yes.
Because they like my blood type.
Yeah. Well, with us having
like
a farm, I'm out there in my shorts and flip-flops all the time, either picking, weeding, harvesting something or another. And as long as I put the lotion on before I go on outside, I never get bit with no-see-ums, sweat bees. I haven't had a tick on me. I haven't had a mosquito bite. So I just have to make sure that I put it on before I go out.
Really good.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to use that much.
No?
You just have to put it on because sometimes I'll take a shower and I'll think, I'm just going to run outside and get something. And I get diverted and I end up finding myself there in that blackberry patch just picking a few more and I start getting bit.
Yes.
So
definitely. And we can't be messing around with that, with these dangerous ticks out there.
Yes. And all the diseases that you can get from the fleas, the ticks, even the spiders. I mean, so much stuff is carrying these diseases anymore.
Yeah. So that's great. You found a natural repellent way. And then do you grow all your own herbs that you use in this, or do you
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not buying essential oils to put in them?
I am buying essential oils because I use the crushed plants in there either as a colorant or I also make my own hydrosol. So when you create a plant, everybody knows lavender essential oil comes from lavender.
Yes.
You can take the big bundle of lavender flowers and put them in this still that I have and you brew it and it causes it to go up into a steam and then circulate through just like you would a moonshine type of apparatus and then it comes back and condenses back into water and it's a hydrosol, so it's got all the water-based medicinal qualities of the plant
well as,
and then it'll have a little bead of the essential oil floating on the top.
Okay, that's great.
So I make the hydrosols that you can use as face toners, refreshers. Also, I use that hydrosol in my face creams as well.
Okay, so you don't use straight essential oils that you purchase from other places. You make your own.
I make my own hydrosol.
Hydrosols.
Yes.
But nothing external. All your ingredients are from your homestead?
Right.
Okay.
Except that I do not buy, my essential oils, I do buy those out.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That is a lot of different things that I guess you've just learned over years of experimentation. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None of this
It didn't
came
start out.
overnight.
Yeah, it didn't start out as that. And the business has definitely morphed over the last 12 years.
Yeah.
When I initially started making soap, it was just something that I did for fun. It was something that provided a natural product for my family. But as I started creating it into a business, I also had a lot of stressors going on in my life that pushed me to more into the business of what I'm doing now.
Yeah. So what were you doing before that?
Well, I'm a nurse, so I've been a nurse for the last 34 years in a neonatal ICU.
Can I just say thank you for your service?
You're welcome.
So.
I love it. I love the babies, and I love what I do, and I wouldn't be there for 34 years if I didn't. But the soap making now has become more of my full-time job, and the nursing has kind of taken more of a back seat.
And you are part-time at your nursing job. And
yes.
You work full-time hours on your farm.
Yes, full-time on the farm.
It is your home.
Yes, yes.
So when you do your home chores, it takes on a lot more than just sweeping and doing laundry and stuff.
Yes, and luckily my husband has been able to also go to part-time so that he could help out with all of the home activities and maintaining the farm and the weeding and the cutting of grass and all of those things, because I was definitely drowning in all the work before he went to part-time.
Wow, that's great. Can I ask what does he do?
He was a truck driver for FedEx.
So then he's home a lot more now. Huh?
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
So you can team up on it together.
Oh, absolutely. So now he's more of a PRN. He only works a couple days a month.
That's great.
So
yeah, kind of pick and choose.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So you said, I think that some of your lotions are in stores. Is that right?
Yes. The lotions are at the Norton Women and Children's Hospital gift shop.
They are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Well, then I have to go in there because that's where I work. So, okay. Well, I just didn't even look.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They're by the cash register with the soaps. They're also at Salt Salon in Mount Washington and Country Vogue in Mount Washington.
Okay.
They're in local Lexmark in Lexington.
Oh, wow. You've expanded to Lexington?
Mm-hmm.
Is your farm towards Mount Washington now?
It's in Taylorsville.
Okay.
So it's still an hour for me to get to Lexington.
Okay.
Then Consignment Plus over on Lynn Station Road, I think is what it's called. Country Mart in Taylorsville, and Fresh Take Market in Taylorsville. And then I do a couple private label, where they buy my product and they put their label on it.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's an interesting practice. But I guess I've heard of that before. Well, how do you feel about that? I know we're not in a therapy session, but it's like you have your own label and everything. How do you feel about somebody else putting their label on your product?
I've been okay with it for the most part until recently. I'm finding that I don't want to do that anymore because I'm trying to build my business and my name up
and your name recognition.
But the good thing is by labeling standards, they have to say manufactured by.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to have that on the label, so at least someone can look at it. Because I only do it for one other customer, and I've not taken it on. Well, two total. But the other customer, he does coffee, so he only does coffee soaps, and it has nothing to do with my lotions.
Oh, that's fair.
And I make a soap with his coffee for his business.
Okay.
So that one's okay. The other one does use my product. And according to, like I said, standards, she's supposed to. I've never gone over and looked to see if she has it or not.
But that way it would be traceable to you, and you would get credit. Basically, it was like citing your sources, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's very in demand then.
It is.
If other people want to associate so closely with it, that's great. Okay. Yeah. You have a lot to offer there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else new you're cooking up that you haven't brought out to the public yet?
Oh, gosh. I'm working on my Christmas soaps right now because, like I said, it takes 6 weeks for everything to cure.
Right. Yeah.
So you always have to be thinking ahead of what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing my peppermint candy and white Christmas and orange clove and berry vanilla and cedarwood sage eucalyptus, spearmint eucalyptus, all of these, nice Christmassy ones. Doing a lot of gift sets, Christmas boxes, those types of things. So the business is just been growing. I want it to grow a little bit more, but I think I'm at a good point because it's
steady.
It's been steady. And, I have lots of other irons in my fires. I'm also in a band.
What? You're in a band? No, okay. Are you the drummer?
No, my husband is the drummer.
Your husband's the drummer. What do you do? Are you the singer?
I'm the singer.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm the only female person in the band.
That's amazing. What kind of music do you do?
Oh, gosh. Some Nora Jones, some Bonnie Raitt, some Amy Winehouse, some Patsy Cline. We do a huge array. And we just now formed the band called Beast of Bourbon.
Okay.
Beast of Bourbon.
Bourbon, okay.
Because of Kentucky being a bourbon place. And we're just now starting to kind of get out and about, and we're still working up our music at this point.
So who all's in your band? You have you're the singer, he's the drummer,
and Kevin is the saxophone player. Stephen is also a drummer / percussion, and then Spencer plays, I think it's trumpet. Terry plays trombone, so it's got a saxophone, and Brian plays bass guitar.
Okay, well, that's an interesting combination.
It is. It does not have a guitar player
or a keyboardist
or a keyboard, though my husband plays keyboard as well. So they also said he could play keyboard.
Yeah, it's a percussion instrument. Piano is a percussion instrument because you hit those keys, and the hammers ideally would hit strings, but So that's amazing. How long have you been working on the band?
We just put it together last month.
Last month? Oh my goodness. Well, I would love to hear you play. Do you have an Instagram for your band?
We have a Facebook page for the group. Beast of Bourbon.
One singular, Beast of Bourbon.
Yeah, Beast of Bourbon.
Okay. All right. Yes. Well, I'm going to have to find that. Yeah. And then your Facebook page is Soap Addictions.
Facebook is Soap Addiction at Kentucky Proud Goat Milk.
Okay.
My Instagram is Soap Addictions. I do have a YouTube, but I don't post much on YouTube. It's more of just videos of me creating things. It's more of a way for me to link those videos to my website without slowing down my website.
Yes. That's fantastic.
And on my website, I'm able to have blogs and tell more of my story of why I'm Soap Addiction.
Yeah. So would you like to tell more about that?
Sure.
Okay.
So like I said, I've been doing this for about 12 years. And a couple years into it, I found myself desiring to make soap all the time. I really enjoyed the process, but I had a lot of stress going on in my life. I have 4 children, and several of my children got deeply involved in drugs. They were living the typical life that kids who get in, they weren't kids anymore. They were young adults.
Every one of them, house.
Yes. The youngest was still in my house for a little bit until he decided to move on out too. But each of them were at least of 18 or a little bit older when they started getting involved in that. They started getting involved with the pain pills that progressed to The heroin progressed to doing anything and everything that they could get involved with. And, I didn't really recognize them as my children anymore. They didn't look, they looked horrible. You never could carry on a conversation with them. Their speech was always slurred. There was always nodding off. We've found them overdosed several times, which they had to be resuscitated. And it was a grieving process for me. I missed, because one of the things that I've always wanted was just to have children and have a good, close family relationship. And I was basically grieving the death of my children before they died, because I knew this was going to kill them.
Or if not even that, your idea of
just the relationship.
Yes,
the relationship was broke.
Yeah.
So I found that soap making became a distraction, a healing salve to me. I could go down there in my little workspace and just submerge myself into the different colors and scents. And I think that's where I went from having those plain, boring bars in the beginning to having all these colorful swirls and layers and, intricate patterns and everything, and hand piping and all the different stuff that I started doing, because it took a lot of concentration for me to learn how to do those things. And one day, it was about 3 years ago, I was down there making soap, and a lot of times I listen to a podcast of sermons while I'm down there doing my soaps. And I was always praying over my soaps to pray that they would bless whoever received them. And I finally realized that I was associating the deep desire of my children to get clean with the outward getting clean from the soaps. I had finally made that connection. I had that aha moment, and my business was named something totally different. And I totally changed the name of it, changed the journey of it. I started naming each of my soaps after a different aspect of healing from addiction. So like lemongrass charcoal is named recovery. Lavender is faith. Oatmeal milk and honey is grace. Magnolia blossom is friendship. You've got perseverance. There's just all these different names on the soaps that all represent a different aspect of healing. And it wasn't their healing, it was my healing, because I had to start going to Celebrate Recovery and connecting with other people who had been through something like this, so that I knew how to not die right along with them, because I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to socialize. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to stay into my little dungeon and make soap. So once I started healing and started treating this like a mission and a business, that's when it just really started taking off. But I was afraid. I was afraid of coming out and saying, yeah, this is my business. It's soap addiction. And here's my story, because so often when you have a child or children involved in addiction, you don't want to tell anybody about it. You want to keep it hidden. And but luckily my children all got sober.
Oh, good. I was like on the edge of my seat here. I was like, oh my gosh, where are we going from here?
They all got sober. They've been sober for a while now. And I'm able to share that story of healing and hope and what it took for me to heal despite what they were doing, and what it took for me to support them through their healing without getting sucked right back into enabling and codependency. Because even though I didn't cause it, and I can't fix it, parents and family members still have their role that they play in this. So I had to recognize what my role was and learn how to deal with the addicted child, which was not a child anymore. They were a young adult.
Right.
They were accountable for their own actions.
Yeah, and that is really hard to separate, but this is just such a compelling story, and I just am so thankful for you sharing it with us today, Jennifer. So, I mean, from now on, when I look at your soap, it's definitely going to just be reminding me of your story, and my daughter is going to love taking a bath with all your soaps because she loves to play with all kinds of different soaps. So, if you want to check out Jennifer's business, you can find her at the different markets and the stores she listed, as well as online. So we will see you in the next one. Bye.